Hey guys, Tyler here, and welcome to beautiful Tasmania, Australia. For those that don't know, Tasmania is that little piece of Australia that broke off the bottom a long time ago. In this video, Alex and I spend 11 days road tripping and camping across this incredible landscape. I'll be showing you stunning beaches, alpine lakes, epic waterfalls, and some of the amazing, and in some cases dangerous, wildlife we came across along the way. Our trip starts and ends in Hobart, so let's take it back to the beginning when we landed in Hobart.
And myself, Maria, we would like to thank you for flying with Virgin Australia. We do hope you enjoyed the flight. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a wonderful morning.
We land in Hobart, the capital of Tasmania. Hobart is home to 250,000 residents and houses nearly half of the state's population. After grabbing our luggage and stepping outside the airport, the first thing we notice is the temperature. Even in the middle of summer, Tasmania feels noticeably cooler than mainland Australia. We pick up our rental car and start the short drive into the city, crossing the Tasman Bridge, which spans the Derwent River. The bridge was originally built in 1964, and it plays a huge role in Hobart's daily life, connecting the eastern shore to the city. In 1975, a cargo ship struck the bridge, causing a section to collapse and tragically kill 12 people. For nearly 2 years, Hobart was effectively split in half, forcing commuters to rely on ferries and long detours. Because it's too early to check into our hotel, we head south to Sandy Bay, a relaxed waterfront neighborhood just outside the city center. Down by the water, kids are busy preparing for a sailing competition, hauling boats and rigging sails. It's one of those moments that instantly sets the tone for Tasmania, outdoorsy, community-oriented, and deeply connected to the water. From Sandy Bay, we drive back towards Salamanca Place, one of Hobart's most popular and historic areas. Once a hub for warehouses and whaling trade in the early 1800s, Salamanca has since transformed into a lively district filled with art galleries, boutique shops, and cafes, all set against a beautiful sandstone backdrop. Salamanca is especially famous for the Salamanca Market, held every Saturday, but even on quieter days, it has a creative, laid-back energy. For lunch, we keep things simple and grab sandwiches at Harbor Lights Cafe, right along the water. I go with a chicken bacon wrap, while Alex gets the caprese sandwich. Fresh, easy, and exactly what you need after a long flight. Just uphill from Salamanca is Battery Point, one of Hobart's oldest neighborhoods. Narrow streets, preserved colonial cottages, and ivy-colored stone walls give the area a distinctly European feel. Battery Point dates back to Hobart's early days as a penal colony, and many of the homes here were built for sailors, officers, and merchants in the early 19th century. With daylight still to burn, we decide to drive up Mount Wellington, known locally by its Aboriginal name, Kunani. Rising over 1,270 meters above Hobart, the mountain dominates the skyline and is visible from nearly everywhere in the city. As we climb, the scenery changes rapidly. From dense eucalyptus forests to cooler alpine vegetation, the trees thin out, the air gets colder, and the clouds begin to roll in. By the time we reach the summit, the mountain has other plans. Thick fog blankets the top, completely obscuring what would normally be sweeping views over Hobart, the Derwent River, and the Southern Ocean. Even without the views, it's still worth the drive. The plant life up here feels otherworldly. Hardy alpine shrubs, twisted trees shaped by constant wind, and mosses that thrive in the cold, damp conditions. Before checking in, we stop by Coles to stock up on groceries for the road trip ahead. Pasta, soup, snacks, and plenty of camping staples. Our first stay is at Clydesdale Manor, a beautifully preserved heritage guest house just outside the city center. Built in the late 1800s, it has classic Tasmanian architecture, high ceilings, original woodwork, and a cozy, old-world charm that immediately makes it feel like home. That night, I make us a simple dinner, easing into travel mode after a long day of flying and exploring. The next morning, we sit down for breakfast and coffee, and I give Vegemite another shot. This time, I do it properly, just a thin layer on toast. And honestly, not bad. Still intense, but not bad. With breakfast finished, it's time to officially begin our road trip. Our first stop is just outside Hobart at Anaconda, a popular Australian outdoor store where we pick up camping fuel for our stove. Tasmania is wild, but it's also well equipped for adventure. Camping culture here is deeply ingrained. From there, it's about an hour's drive southeast to Port Arthur. The city fades quickly into rolling farmland and open countryside. The road winds through small towns, eucalyptus forests, and wide coastal views as we make our way onto the Tasman Peninsula. Traffic thins out, the air feels cooler, and it becomes clear we're heading somewhere quieter, wilder, and far removed from everyday life. We arrive at Port Arthur, but before we get to exploring, we have a quick snack. I get to try another Australian classic, Shapes. Savory, boldly flavored crackers that are way more addictive than I expected.
Pizza flavored.
Feeling re-energized, it's time to see Port Arthur. Port Arthur is one of Australia's most significant historic sites and one of the best preserved convict settlements in the world. Established in 1830, Port Arthur was a penal colony for the British Empire's most hardened criminals. Surrounded by water and guarded by harsh conditions, escape was nearly impossible. The settlement operated for nearly 50 years and housed thousands of convicts who were forced to labor in brutal conditions. Today, the site is hauntingly beautiful. Crumbling sandstone buildings sit against rolling green hills, with the sea never far away. It's quiet, reflective, and heavy with history. Entry fees are 53 Australian dollars per adult, which includes access to the grounds and a short harbor cruise. Absolutely worth it for the insight into Tasmania's darker past. From Port Arthur, we continue deeper into Tasman National Park, heading toward Fortescue Bay, our first campsite of the trip. The park is nearly full when we arrive, but we luck out and snag a great spot just a stone's throw from the ocean. Waves roll in gently, and the sound of water becomes our soundtrack for the night. Wallabies hop through the campground, completely unfazed by people. Families are everywhere, kids riding bikes, playing games, and roasting marshmallows. Australians really know how to camp, and the atmosphere feels social, relaxed, and welcoming. Camping here costs just 13 Australian dollars for the night, and the facilities are surprisingly good. Clean bathrooms, running water, and well-maintained sites. As the sun drops, we start dinner with a warm soup, followed by a tomato pesto pasta. Simple, filling, and perfect after a long travel day. And just like that, our Tasmanian road trip is officially underway.
Little Aussie chocolate here. Let's check it out.
The next morning, I'm up early, still a bit jet-lagged and running on California's Pacific Standard Time. When Alex finally wakes up, we keep things simple with oatmeal and get to try out her new AeroPress coffee maker, which, if you like coffee, is a great tool in the camping setup. While most of the campground is still asleep, we walk down to the beach and have it all to ourselves. Soft sand, calm turquoise water, and forest-covered hills wrapping around the bay. It's quiet, peaceful, and the kind of place that makes waking up early feel absolutely worth it. We continue our exploration of Tasman National Park with our first stop at the Blowhole. It's interesting, but a little underwhelming. Maybe we didn't time the tide right. On the other hand, Fossil Bay Lookout more than makes up for it. Here the cliffs drop straight into the ocean. Waves crash far below, and the coastline stretches endlessly in both directions. The scale here is incredible, raw, rugged, and unmistakably Tasmanian. It's the kind of view that makes you stop talking and just stare. Nearby, we stop at Tasman's Arch and the Devil's Kitchen, dramatic, sea-carved rock formations where the ocean has spent thousands of years shaping the coastline. Powerful, loud, and endlessly fascinating. Continuing up the coast, we reach another local marvel, the tessellated pavements. Natural stone platforms patterned into near-perfect geometric shapes, formed by erosion, salt, and time. It looks man-made, but it's completely natural and totally unique to this coastline. From here, we settle in for a longer drive up the coast. The road follows rolling hills, open farmland, and stretches of rugged shoreline. We travel along Highway A3, winding past small towns and following the Prosser River as it cuts through the landscape. Midway, we stop in the seaside town of Offord for fresh seafood at the Offord Riverside Cafe. Simple, local, and exactly what we needed before getting back on the road. As we continue north, we pass through Swansea, a quiet coastal town with sweeping ocean views on one side and vineyards rolling across the hills on the other. Tasmania has a way of blending wild coastline with farmland that feels both remote and welcoming at the same time. Our next stop is Devil's Corner Cellar Door, highly recommended by Alex's friends, Reg and Chris. As soon as we arrive, it's easy to see why. Stunning views over the bay, modern architecture, and a relaxed atmosphere. Easily one of the coolest wineries I've ever visited. After the winery, we head toward Freycinet National Park, hoping to grab a campsite. But being a Friday in midsummer, everything is full, including the first-come, first-served sites down the road at Friendly Beaches. Friendly Beaches campground sits tucked behind dunes along a long, wild stretch of coastline. If you're lucky enough to snag a site, it's completely free. Simple, remote camping with ocean views, crashing waves, and plenty of wallabies. Unfortunately for us, the sites are all full, and with daylight fading, we have to quickly pivot to Plan B. About 40 minutes away, we find a great alternative at Douglas Apsley National Park. It's quieter, more remote, and feels untouched. The campsites require about a 10-minute hike in, so we keep it simple, eating dinner at the car and carrying only what we need to sleep. Camping here is completely free, and there are plenty of sites available. But there's no toilets, so you'll want to take care of that before you leave the parking area. This isn't a popular spot, so there's a good chance you might have the whole camping area to yourself. Normally, I like to sleep in on Saturdays. Unfortunately, kookaburras don't know what day of the week it is, and they make sure I'm awake early. I use the quiet morning to explore around the campground. Not far from the camp, I stumble upon a group of wallabies. They're curious but clearly cautious. Unlike the ones we saw earlier, these aren't used to people at all. I continue on to a nearby waterhole, calm and still, surrounded by forest. It's peaceful, serene, and the kind of place that makes you slow down without even trying. After packing up, we backtrack toward Freycinet National Park. This time, we're standing at the entrance right as the ranger opens the doors at 9 a.m. And guess what? We get a campsite. Our campsite won't be available until 11, so we head straight to the trailhead for the park's most famous hike, the Wineglass Bay Lookout. The parking area is already filling up, no surprise, since this is the most popular hike in the park. We eat breakfast at the car and then hit the trail. The hike to the lookout is about 1.5 miles each way, with a steady climb of roughly 600 feet. Stone steps wind upward through dry forest, opening to incredible coastal views as you gain elevation. It's short but steep, a quick workout with a huge payoff. At the top, the view is unreal. Bright white sand curves around impossibly blue water. Framed by rugged granite peaks, it's iconic for a reason. But standing there, I want more. Alex heads back down the way we came, while I decide to take the longer loop and turn it into a trail run. I even challenge myself to beat her back to the car, which seems highly unlikely.
See if I can beat her back to the car. So Alex tore her Achilles maybe just 3 months ago playing netball. So she's still recovering from that. Needs a few more months before she can really do strenuous hiking. Otherwise, she'd definitely be here too.
The full loop takes me down to Wineglass Bay Beach, across the Isthmus Track, and then along the Hazards Beach Track, normally a 4-hour hike. I finish it in just under 2 hours, running about half the distance. Along the way, the scenery is nonstop. Pristine beaches, crystal clear water, pink granite boulders, and long, empty stretches of sand that feel completely untouched. My Ultra Olympus 6 trail runners perform flawlessly, comfortable, stable, and grippy on everything from rocky climbs to soft sand. For the kind of travel I do, mixing hiking, trail running, and long days on my feet, trail runners like these are hard to beat. After the hike, we drive to our campsite, and it's incredible. Just steps from the water in Coles Bay, with quick beach access and views straight across the bay. Coles Bay feels like a perfect base camp. Calm waters, mountain backdrops, and an easygoing coastal vibe that makes it hard to leave. Later in the afternoon, we drive out to Cape Torville Lighthouse. The walk is short, but the views are huge. Dramatic cliffs, endless ocean, and waves smashing into the coastline below. It's wild, exposed, and feels like the edge of the world. Just down the road is Sleepy Bay. Granite boulders spill into clear turquoise water, and the beach feels rugged yet peaceful. It's the kind of place you could easily lose track of time just watching the waves roll in. With several great dining options nearby, we decide to go out for dinner at Geography. The food is excellent. We share the fungi pizza and the Asian-style squid, both absolutely delicious and well-earned after a long day of hiking. Back at camp, we're once again greeted by kookaburras that are settling in for the evening. We get cozy in our incredible campsite, the sound of the bay nearby, and fall asleep, exhausted, happy, and fully immersed in Tasmania. Even though by this point I'm getting used to the kookaburras, I'm still up early, so I take one last walk down the sandy path to the beach at Coles Bay. Soft dunes, low coastal brush, and that first glimpse of calm water opening up ahead. A perfect, quiet send-off. After our usual breakfast, it's time to hit the road for one of the most beautiful drives of the entire trip, Coles Bay to the Bay of Fires. The drive north is pure visual overload. Rolling farmland gives way to winding coastal roads, open ocean views, and long stretches where turquoise water runs straight into dark, jagged rock. From above, the contrast is unreal. Deep blues, jet black stone, and streaks of bright orange lighting up the shoreline. That orange color comes from lichen, a hardy organism that thrives on Tasmania's granite coastline. It grows where salt spray, sunlight, and clean air collide, and it's especially concentrated here along the northeast coast. By the time we reach the Bay of Fires, those colors become the defining feature of the landscape. This time we don't mess around. We head straight to Jeanneret campsite and land an absolutely incredible spot. It was our plan to check out other campgrounds down the road, but this one is too good to pass up, so we lock it down immediately by pitching the tent. We do still explore the other nearby campsites, and while there's availability, none of them come close. Best part, camping here is completely free. Amenities are minimal, just drop toilets and not much else, but that's more than enough. 2 stunning beaches, endless rock formations, and total freedom to explore make it an easy trade-off. When we head down to the beach, Alex points out clusters of blue bottles scattered along the sand. They're often mistaken for jellyfish, but they're actually a type of floating organism made up of multiple colonies working together. They deliver a painful sting even when washed ashore, so definitely something to admire from a distance. I spent some time bouldering around the rocks near camp. The granite here is solid and sculpted, covered in that vivid orange lichen that makes every surface feel alive. The contrast between the rough stone, bright color, and clear water is unreal. That afternoon, we drive around to explore more of the area, starting with the Binalong Balancing Boulder, a massive granite rock that looks like it's somehow defying gravity. From there, we take a short walk out towards Skeleton Point. The trail is easy and scenic, weaving through low coastal vegetation with constant views of the ocean just beyond. Along the way, I spot my first echidna, covered in sharp spines with a long snout and slow, deliberate movements. It looks like something from another era, part porcupine, part anteater, and completely unfazed by my presence. With daylight still to burn, we continue north to explore more beaches. First up is Honeymoon Beach, small, sheltered, and peaceful, with calm water and soft sand. Just past that is Suicide Beach, which feels completely different, more exposed, more powerful, with waves slamming hard against the shore. The names Honeymoon and Suicide sound like a strange joke, but they're rooted in historical history. Honeymoon Beach was known as a safe, romantic swimming spot, while Suicide Beach earned its name from dangerous currents and rough conditions that make it unsafe for inexperienced swimmers. Our final stop of the day is the Gardens. Shallow, crystal clear water winds through smooth granite outcrops, creating natural pools and channels that feel almost tropical. It's calm, colorful, and easily one of the most visually striking places we visit. Before heading back to camp, we make a quick resupply run into St. Helens, grabbing a few groceries, some wine, and topping off our water bottles at the community fill-up station. Back at camp, we notice a few new neighbors settling in nearby. We start the evening with a bit of wine and then move on to dinner. Pesto pasta with fresh zucchini and chorizo. Simple, hearty, and exactly what we need. All in all, a really good day. The next morning, I take one last look at Jeanneret Beach, easily one of my favorites from the entire trip. Wide, wild, and completely unspoiled. We take a few minutes to get cleaned up. With no showers at the campsite, we have to get a little creative. No, it's not glamorous, but it gets the job done. After a quick breakfast, we say goodbye to Tasmania's east coast. Having thoroughly enjoyed the beaches, cliffs, and coastal drives, we now begin heading west across the island toward Launceston. Since we're a day ahead of our Airbnb booking there, we research camping options along the way and make a plan to end the day at Lilydale, a campground about 30 minutes outside Launceston. We also find plenty of exciting options to explore along the way. Our first stop is St. Columba Falls, and as we get closer, it's immediately clear we've entered a different climate. The dry coastal air gives way to cool temperatures, misty clouds, and dense rainforest. Everything here is intensely green, moss-covered trees, ferns, and towering eucalyptus wrapped in moisture. The walk to the falls takes about 30 minutes round trip, winding through thick forest with the sound of rushing water growing louder as we go. When the falls finally come into view, they're spectacular. A powerful curtain of water plunging into a shaded pool below, surrounded by lush vegetation and mist drifting through the trees. When we get back to the car, Alex has a bit of a scare. She finds 2 leeches on her legs. We get them off, do a thorough check,
Think we got them all.
and add rainforest leeches to the growing list of uniquely Tasmanian experiences. Back on the road, we spot a sign for the Weldborough Pass Rainforest Walk and decide to stop. It's a short 15-minute loop, but stops like this are perfect for breaking up long drives. Quick immersion into nature without much commitment. Continuing on, we pass through Derby, a small town that's become a world-class destination for mountain biking. Trails snake through the surrounding hills, and the town has fully embraced its outdoor identity. As lunchtime approaches, Alex insists that I finally try an Australian pie. We pull into the small town of Branksome, where 10 Timbers comes highly recommended with a 4.8 star rating. The town is quiet and charming, and 10 Timbers doesn't disappoint. We share a massive lamb pie. Flaky pastry, rich filling, and incredibly satisfying. Simple food done really well. We continue driving, topping up the car in Scottsdale. On road trips, you never want to let the fuel tank get too low, especially in remote areas. Over the course of the trip, we refuel several times, spending about 220 Australian dollars total. We usually paid about $1.70 Australian per liter, which works out to a bit more than $4.50 US dollars per gallon. Soon we arrive at Lilydale Falls Reserve, our campground for the night. It's quiet, shaded, and beautifully set within the forest. One of the best parts is that the waterfalls are accessible directly from the campground. A short walk leads to two waterfalls, one lower and wide, the other taller and tucked deeper into the forest. The trail is easy and peaceful, perfect for an evening stroll. That night we settle in with wine and soup, followed by couscous and tuna. As the sun sets, leaves rustle in the breeze and animal sounds echo through the trees, the kind of soundtrack you only get while camping. The next morning we head into Launceston, Tasmania's second largest city, with a population of around 70,000. Founded in the early 1800s at the junction of two rivers, Launceston grew as an important trading and agricultural hub, and today blends historic architecture with modern culture. Since we can't check in until later, we knock out some errands, including another stop at Anaconda to resupply our stove fuel. We've definitely used more than expected. Our next stop is Cataract Gorge Reserve, located just minutes from downtown. The gorge feels like a natural wonder hidden inside the city. Steep cliffs, walking trails, suspension bridges, and even a chairlift crossing the gorge. We wander the trails, spotting wallabies along the path and peacocks wandering freely. Another one of the highlights of Cataract Gorge is the Alexandra Suspension Bridge. Built in 1904, it stretches gracefully across the South Esk River, linking the two sides of the gorge with a light, elegant span of steel and timber. As you walk across, the bridge gently sways beneath your feet, giving you a full sense of the height and scale of the cliffs rising on either side. There's also a historic swimming pool that was first opened in 1950. We test the water and surprisingly, it's not too cold. We change into our swimsuits and go for a dip, surrounded by cliffs and dramatic cloud cover overhead, easily one of the most unique swim spots we've ever experienced. With time to spare, we visit the Queen Victoria Art Gallery, Australia's oldest public art museum. The space features everything from Tasmanian history to contemporary art. One exhibit in particular stands out, Mortal Reflections by Sam Jinks. His hyper-realistic sculptures explore aging, vulnerability, and the human condition. The craftsmanship is incredible, and the work really leaves a lasting impression. We restock beverages and check into our Airbnb, a comfortable apartment right in the heart of downtown. It even has a washing machine, which feels like pure luxury after 5 nights of camping. That evening, we head out for dinner and quickly learn that Tuesdays are a tough night in Launceston. Many restaurants are closed. Luckily, Turkish Tuka is open, serving generous portions of delicious Turkish food, a solid win. The next morning, I get the car reorganized and we restock our groceries at Coles. It's back to camping mode. From Launceston, we drive about 2 hours west toward Cradle Mountain. The drive is stunning, farmland rolling into forest, winding roads, distant peaks, and constantly changing light. Along the way, I try Alex's favorite Shapes flavor, chicken crimpy. We arrive at Discovery Park's Cradle Mountain, located directly across from the National Park Visitor Center. It's more expensive than the other campsites, $30 Australian dollars per person, but the amenities are top-notch, modern bathrooms and excellent communal spaces. After a quick noodle lunch, we head straight into the park. Access beyond the visitor center requires a shuttle pass, so we hop on and head to Dove Lake. The scene is iconic, still water reflecting rugged peaks, button grass lining the shore, and clouds rolling dramatically overhead. It's moody, quiet, and incredibly beautiful. We spend part of the afternoon exploring the Cradle Valley Boardwalk, an elevated trail system designed to protect the fragile alpine environment while still giving you front row access to it. The boardwalk winds gently through button grass plains and pockets of twisted snow gums that look like they've been shaped by decades of wind and weather. What makes this walk so special is how immersive it feels. You're eye level with the landscape, surrounded by moss, wildflowers, and wide open views of Cradle Mountain rising in the distance. The terrain here is sensitive and slow to recover from damage, so the raised walkway helps preserve it while allowing visitors to experience it up close. Later, we head to Ronnie Creek, where a ranger tells us wombats often appear around 4 p.m. Sure enough, wombats, slowly wandering through the grass, completely unbothered. Rain eventually rolls in, which is common here. Weather at Cradle Mountain can change rapidly, so proper layers and preparation are essential. Back at camp, we make full use of the amenities. The communal cooking area really brings everyone together. Barbecues, shared tables, even pizza ovens in use. After our chicken kebabs and salad, I try another Aussie classic, Tim Tams. As someone who doesn't usually love chocolate, I'll admit, they're pretty good. It's very cold when we wake up in the morning, so we head back to the communal area and I get the fireplace going. We warm up with food and coffee and then begin the drive to Lake St Clair. The drive is scenic and peaceful with mountains, forests, and winding roads. Along the way, we stop at Horsetail Falls Track, offering elevated views over the landscape. The waterfall here is highly seasonal and can be reduced to a trickle in dry summer months. Nevertheless, it's another one of those nice places to stretch the legs. About 20 minutes down the road is another stop worth making, the Nelson Falls Track. It's an easy 30-minute return walk, but it feels like stepping into another world. The trail follows a well-maintained boardwalk through dense, temperate rainforest, surrounded by towering fern trees, moss-covered trunks, and the constant sound of running water. The air is cool and damp, and everything feels alive. When you reach the falls, a wide curtain of water tumbles down over dark rock into a shaded pool below. It's short, accessible, and absolutely worth the stop. When we are back on the road, we encounter some heavy rain, but soon arrive at Lake St Clair Visitor Center, complete with bathrooms, a cafe, and helpful rangers. We learn about free camping just a 10-minute hike in. I head out to claim a camping spot while Alex sets up in the picnic area to make us lunch. The one thing that the ranger asked was that we only pitch our tent on one of the provided platforms. I've never pitched a tent on a platform before, but after some problem solving, it works. The campsite sits among tall trees right near the lake's edge, quiet, shaded, and beautiful.
Our lunch is looking good.
After lunch, we walk the Franklin Beaches Walk. The walk is mostly flat with a trail and some beach sections. If you do the whole 6 kilometers, it takes about 1.5 to 2 hours. The day is calm and cloudy and peaceful until Alex suddenly screams. She nearly stepped on a snake. Back at the visitor center, we learn it was a tiger snake, one of Australia's venomous species. Since the rain picks up, we explore the indoor exhibits and play a few rounds of Monopoly Deal. Dinner is light, soup and salad, before we walk back along the quiet shores of Lake St Clair to our campsite. The night is cold and misty. Sunrise doesn't happen the way I hoped, but the mood fits perfectly. We warm up with coffee and visit The Wall, a nearby gallery featuring extraordinary wood carvings. Photography isn't allowed inside, but it's absolutely worth the stop. From there, we continue driving toward our tiny homestay in the Black Hills. The landscape begins to shift again. Dense forest opens into rolling farmland, winding country roads stretch toward distant hills, and wide valleys unfold beneath big Tasmanian skies. We stopped for lunch at Lake Meadowbank, a place that wasn't even on our itinerary. The lake sits calm and expansive, framed by soft hills and open sky. It's quiet, peaceful, and almost surreal how casually Tasmania delivers scenery like this. That's the magic of this island. You don't always have to chase the highlights. Sometimes you just pull over and the view is already waiting for you. The final approach to the tiny home starts at the main road, where our host meets us and escorts us in, and it quickly becomes clear why. The pavement disappears, replaced by a narrow gravel track winding deep into the forest. There are ruts, loose stones, and a few uneven climbs. Definitely a spot where ground clearance helps and all-wheel drive is recommended. It feels remote in the best possible way, like we're being let in on a secret. When the trees finally open up and the tiny home comes into view, it feels like a reward after the cold, rugged nights of camping. Tucked among tall trees and completely surrounded by bushland, it's modern but understated. Clean lines, warm timber finishes, and big windows that pull the forest inside. It's small but incredibly efficient. A lofted bed, compact kitchen, thoughtful storage, and just enough space to feel comfortable without wasting an inch. It's cozy without feeling cramped, intentional in every detail. We light the fire, pour a glass of wine, and sink into the warmth. After days of wind, rain, and early wake-up calls, this feels like pure luxury. The next morning feels slow and comfortable, the kind of morning you only get when you're not having to pack up a tent. I fire up the mocha pot and the smell of strong coffee fills the tiny home. Alex makes us pancakes using ingredients our host thoughtfully left for us. It's quiet, peaceful, and for the first time in a while, we're not rushing anywhere. As we load up the car, we discover one last surprise, a huntsman spider clinging near the door, apparently hoping for a lift back to Hobart. Huntsmen are large, fast, and definitely intimidating at first glance, but they're harmless. Still, we politely decline the extra passenger. On our way back into Hobart, we stop at Mona, the Museum of Old and New Art. The building itself is mostly underground, carved into sandstone cliffs along the Derwent River. It feels less like entering a museum and more like descending into some kind of art labyrinth. Mona was founded by Tasmanian billionaire David Walsh, who reportedly funded much of it with professional gambling winnings. And the museum reflects that unconventional origin, bold, provocative, sometimes controversial. Ancient artifacts sit next to cutting-edge contemporary installations. Some pieces are beautiful, others unsettling. It's strange, immersive, and completely unforgettable. Not your typical museum experience, and exactly what makes it so memorable. After leaving Mona, we continue the drive into Hobart, following the Derwent River as it curves toward the city. As we get closer to town, we notice something unexpected, a thick column of black smoke rising into the sky, a structure fire that reminds us we're back in civilization, where life moves fast and unpredictably. We check into the Shipwrights Arms Hotel, a historic waterfront pub and hotel tucked into Battery Point. Dating back to the 1800s, the building feels like a piece of Hobart's maritime past. Dark timber beams, brass fixtures, old sailing photographs, and nautical memorabilia lining the walls. It's charming, a little creaky, and full of character. That evening, we wandered through Battery Point and along the waterfront, retracing some of our first steps from the beginning of the trip. We'd hoped to get into the Drunken Admiral, which came highly recommended by friends, but on a Saturday night, it's fully booked. So we pivot to Fish Frenzy, and it turns out to be the perfect call. I spot a plate of grilled scallops at another table and instantly know that's the move. Paired with a Greek salad and fries, it's fresh, simple, and absolutely delicious. Back at the Shipwright's Arms, we settle into the bar with a drink in hand, surrounded by maritime history, quietly reflecting on what has been an incredible journey across Tasmania. Our final morning, we returned the rental car, full of fuel, undamaged, but very dirty. The woman at the counter smiles and says,
That shows when you've had a good trip.
she's right. And with that, our Tasmania adventure comes to an end as we head back to Canberra. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing. I'll see you on the next one.